In this video we test out the Engwe X24. It has many brilliant features, but on this cold ride through the wet countryside roads, one negative really stood out.
Oh god, spray. Bishop's Wood is wet. I'm wet. Why can't you put mud guards on an e-bike, especially if you sell it in England? Is this a puddle? Don't let me down, brown pads. Don't let me down, brown pads. It's a puddle. So this is the Engwe X24 from Engwe, obviously. It's a bit of a different kind of looking bike, isn't it? It's your foldable style bike. So you can see you've still got the foldable handle in the middle, which you can open by pulling that, and then it'll all collapse inwards out like that. It's a heavy bike, so it's not ideal. It's not like you take it on a train and fold it up. The handlebars don't go in or anything like that, but for storage it's handy. I could see some people arguing that they'd prefer it not to fold. Maybe they think it's more sturdy, but it all feels pretty sturdy. You might notice around the back it doesn't have a carrier, it's got a saddle instead, so a rear seat, so someone could sit back there. It's all a bit different. And how many sets of suspension can you see? Of course, you've got your front suspension with compression, so you can completely lock it out if you like, and preload, so you can adjust the travel. That's nice. But you've got these big springs here, almost reminiscent of motorcycle type springs, but then you've also got this down here. So then you kind of look at the bike and you think, hang on, okay, so if I'm jumping up and down on that, I'm attached here to this, that's pushing down that, but also it's all a bit, hang on, ugh. See for yourself. Woo. Ow. Ow. Obviously it's not step through either.
I'm pretty sure the middle suspension doesn't really do anything, but that doesn't really matter as the rear suspension is really impressive. Inside those springs are air shocks, and we'll be taking this bike on a 20-mile ride, so we'll find out later on just how comfortable all that suspension makes the bike.
So I am off on a journey to test out this Engwe X24. Now, sometime last summer, Engwe released the X24, which is this one, the X20, which is similar, looks a bit more like your standard folder with 20-inch fat tyres, and they already had the X26. Now, I never tried the X26, but a lot of people weren't too keen on it. Had a few issues. For example, the battery system was very clunky because it's got two batteries. They've fixed that with this one. Whoa! Push! It's got a 10 amp hour battery in here and a 19.2 amp hour battery, which is the saddle stalk. If you do run out of power in the 10 amp hour battery in there, the 19.2 one in the saddle can be accessed with this button here. You press that button there, the battery is on. So I might as well just keep that, or might as well just drain them both at the same time. 29.2 amp hours, 48 volt battery, 1000 watt motor peaking at 1200. That's a lot of capacity. That's 1400 watt hours of capacity. That's 1.4 kilowatts. That's a lot. So they do expect you can go far. They reckon in eco mode 150 kilometers. We're not going to go that far, but I'm also not going to go in eco mode. I'm also about 100 kilograms, so I'm heavier than your average rider. It's got a lock there, so someone can't just come along and just pull your saddle out. Obviously a bit of quick release, and at the moment the quick release is locked in because you need a key, and it is a bit awkward. Let's see if we can get this sorted now. So you stick the key in there. It's not the best. Oh, there you go. It's in. Turn it, and then hopefully it comes out. Ugh, get it out. Oh, that's all come off. Give us a proper key ring, please. And then you kind of wiggle it around a bit, and eventually it comes off, and you can see that. Now that's up. You can pull that out, which lets you adjust the saddle, and it lets you take the battery out. Now, so many people see my videos, and they're always like, your saddle's too low. Now, I've actually tried to increase the height on this, and I'm tightening everything, and I still push it back down again. So if you want this saddle to stay in the right place, you've got to really tighten it up on the other side. Luckily, I'm not mega bothered. So to To keep it locked in, all you got to do, press the little button. Doink! Locked. So there's no like ignition. Without a key, the bike will turn on. Now, something I like about this bike, a lot of the gears are your Shimano Altus, which although aren't well high up in the pecking order of Shimano's gears, especially if you're like you're buying expensive mountain bikes, they are a lot better than your standard Shimano Tawny ones. They're 8-speed, and to go up the gears and down the gears, you just give these a click like that. There's a dial down there, so you pull that in, you can see that it goes up and then down like that every single time. Click, 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 click. Nice. I like the system, and they're good gears, and they always solidly go into each one you want. Obviously sometimes they might need a bit of adjusting, but I've never had a set of Shimano Altus that have let me down so far. So the great thing about the Altus gears on this bike is that it's got 8 of them, and whenever these bikes have got 8 gears, it means that you can actually help out at higher speeds. So for example, right now I'm going 25, and usually at 25 these fat tire e-bikes are just useless for helping. You're just totally relying on the motor. So I've just pushed it into 8th gear, and I can feel it already. So we can then push past it, and I'm not even really trying very hard, but I can tell that I'm now helping. Obviously it's pedal assist as well, so I'm not using the throttle right now. So I'm now cruising at 26.7 miles an hour. If I wanted to, I could probably stand up and push it further than that, but I'm not going to. But I am going to see the sport mode. Yes, I'm in sport mode. Let's see if it makes a difference. Oh, cow poo. Pretty quick. 30 miles an hour. Front and rear lights. We are going to go on a big long ride now, so we're going to see those in action later on. You got a thumb throttle on the left. You've got the hydraulic brakes. They're nice and they feel good. Right, I'm going to do a brake test. 20 miles an hour, and that was good. That was very good. Gotta love hydraulic brakes. BMX style handlebars. Just like the handlebars aren't folding, the pedals aren't folding pedals. I'm not that bothered anyway. And it has a buzzer that doesn't work because it's not turned on. Not the loudest, more for pedestrians than for cars. Also, a lot of people found that the sport mode on the X26 wasn't great. You can only enter sport mode for about 10 minutes, and after that it's like, no, sorry, we don't want to ruin the motor. So currently I'm in normal mode. If I want to enter sport mode, I just press the I button and I can cycle through it. So I, that's the sport. I'm not going to use it at the moment. Normal, and there's an eco. So eco mode in level 5. I'm going to take the throttle alone for a second. We're going about 23.9 miles an hour. I do like the bike. We have already taken it up the hill. It's got 70 Newton meters of torque. We've raced it against a skateboard. It lost. And that skateboard was only $400. So we'll see how this finally takes its place on the leaderboard for Sandy Lane.
So yes, the X24 did get beaten up the hill by the skateboard, but then that wasn't really a surprise. How it compares with all the other e-bikes is what we really want to know. Well, the X24 got up with a time of 1 minute and 14 seconds, which sort of makes it the slowest of the fast vehicles. Not a terrible time, but a little underwhelming considering the 1,200 watts of power and 70 Newton meters of torque.
So right now, like I say, I'm in eco mode. I'm just kind of trundling along, 23 miles an hour. I've already tested the GPS with the Speedo. Speedo seems to be set up pretty well. They are 24-inch tyres, which means you should get, with larger tyres compared to your 20-inch ones, you'll get a higher top speed but a slower acceleration. which is why it might have struggled a bit on the hill climb compared to other similarly powered bikes. But to be on it, it feels really nice. Like if this was your only e-bike, because obviously I test quite a few, you'd think, wow, this is a fast bike. Right, I'm about 6 miles into the trip. I am in the village of Brood where I've been before, and the bike is actually really comfortable. I think it is one of the most comfortable e-bikes I've ridden, to be fair. And like if I wanted to, I could probably just ride on the back as well. A bit of a stretch, but angle these towards me might work. I'll have to try that later. But yeah, feels really good. No sore arse just yet, but I'm only 6 miles in. Let's have a look at that backlight. So it is getting darker. The backlight's on. Obviously, this village we're in, Brood, is in Alabama. Brood, Alabama. So we're going to carry on going past Brood, and at some point we'll turn around. It's not a full range test, but after it, we probably would have done about 15 miles. We can have a look at the battery. 96% it says now, so it's hardly anything. I'm hoping the lack of mud guards isn't going to be a problem, because it was tipping it down yesterday, but yesterday was Mother's Day. It hasn't been too bad today, but there are a few puddles. So if I do get caught out, it shouldn't matter, because I did decide to wear the brown pants. Right, now might be a good time to check out the different speeds, because one thing I noticed is that in level 1, so I've just put it down to level 1, you get 3.3 miles an hour. Level 2, a bit more. Now I'll tell you what you can do is you can press the I button. You can see how much power is coming out. I'm not sure I trust it, to be honest, because when we're doing the hill climb it was saying silly numbers, but it is going to make it up. It's putting 1,260 then. I saw 1,300 then. 1,331 then. Blimey, heck, can you see this? It's more interesting than the actual road. 1,400. Jesus. 1,415, I saw that. So yeah, level 2 is about 6 miles an hour. Let's level 3 is 9.5-ish, not the fastest, 9.8. Level 4, this one's your kind of legal speed. It takes you about 15.5. And then obviously you got level 5. Now, I don't see the point of having a 3 miles an hour, a 6 miles an hour, and a 9 miles an hour, a 16, and then suddenly a 25. However, it's just the way it's set up. So P1 is 22% power, 2 is 35%, 3 is 50, 4 is 77, 5 is 100. So yeah, if you wanted to mess around with that, you could set it up more to your needs, which is nice. But anyway, I'm not bothered about that. So, oh, and you can also have it 0 to 3. That means you can have power off and then just have 3 modes. And you can have it 1 to 3, so there isn't a power off mode. You can have it 0 to 5, or you can have it 1 to 5, or you can have 0 to 7 and 1 to 7, or 0 to 9 and 1 to 9. If you want that much extra control, I think 5's enough though, to be honest. 0 to 5. It's always nice to be able to turn the power off if you want that extra exercise.
There are quite a lot of settings in the computer, including a setting to turn off the auto lights if they're annoying you. What is missing is a pass key for the bike. Now, most people probably don't use a pass key, but most e-bikes do come with the option to have one. You'll find out later on why it would have been very nice to have one with this bike.
I will say that front light, it's okay. I can kind of, it's there in front of it. It's not the brightest in the world, but it is tiny, so you wouldn't really expect it to be. Road ahead closed. How closed is it?
So the bike looks very impressive. It's got high-spec gears, great hydraulic brakes, massive batteries, and seemingly brilliant suspension. And if you're thinking you might purchase this bike, then I'd appreciate it if you use my affiliate links in the description. It doesn't cost you any extra, but it helps out the channel. There's also a discount code in the description to save some money. But don't go there yet, we're about to get to the negatives. As we entered the so-called Bishop's Wood, the wet roads exposed a pretty big negative.
Uh-oh, puddles. Now, luckily the back seat has got a bit of an overhang, so no, you won't get all the water spray, but it is going to spray up from underneath. Hopefully the bar catches most of it, but it don't really work like that, does it? Puddle, how's it in my mouth? God, yeah, no mud guards. The saddle didn't help. The saddle didn't help. I've never been to Bishop's Wood. Let's have a look around Bishop's Wood. Oh God, spray, spray. Bishop's Wood is wet. I'm wet. Why can't you put mud guards on an e-bike, especially if you sell it in England? Is this a puddle? Don't let me down, brown pads. Don't let me down, brown pads. It's a puddle. Ah.
If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to leave a like and a comment. The engagement really helps. Sadly, the lack of mudguards isn't the only negative about this bike. Firstly, a few minor ones before one that may just be a deal breaker depending on how you want to use the bike. As mentioned, sports mode only lasts 10 minutes, and if you cycle past it on the computer, you won't be able to select it again for another 10 minutes. However, if you turn the bike off and on again, it does come back. The rear seat is an odd choice. A rack probably would have been better with an optional seat attachment. If you want to take a smaller rider, then the lack of a backrest could be troublesome. But if you want to carry a larger rider, then the lack of foot pegs or mountings to add them would severely limit how far the passenger would be willing to go, unless riding on the back of the X24 is their idea of a leg day. There is a brake light on the saddle stem battery. I do like this, but with the saddle in the lowest position, the brake light is obscured, and it's also hard to plug in the battery itself. However, you're not really meant to ride the X24 with the saddle in its lower position, so it is a bit of a moot point. Now, the X24 may have streamlined the two battery situation compared to the old X26, but you still need to charge them separately. But this isn't the biggest issue with the batteries. Now, remember I said I would have liked a pass key to start the bike? And remember I said I didn't need a key to run the bike? Well, the keyhole for the battery is only accessible by unfolding the bike, and it only has two positions: on and the battery locked, and off where the battery is removable. This means you can't use the key to turn off the power but keep the battery locked into the bike. If you want to leave the battery locked into the bike, then the power will always be on. Personally, I don't think that any e-bike should deliver power without a key inserted. It might be convenient if you only ride for fun and are always with your bike, but if you're a commuter and you need to leave the bike locked up somewhere, say you're in a shop or when you're in the office, then anyone could come along and turn on your bike. Okay, if it's locked, maybe they won't be able to ride it away, but it's still annoying that someone could turn it on. Unfortunately, bike thieves can cut through most locks in seconds and will steal bikes with or without keys. Even if your bike needs a key, they can still take it and get it working later. But gosh darn, I'd hate the idea that a thief could take my bike and the bike would help them get away. Now, if you really want to secure your e-bike, you should probably always take the battery with you. That way you also get the chance to charge the battery. However, on the X24, that is easier said than done. You'd have to keep the saddle unlocked, and then once at your destination, take the saddle with the battery out, unfold the bike, unlock and remove the internal battery, then whilst holding those two batteries, refold the bike. It's very doable, but I don't know about you, I wouldn't want to do it every single day. If your workplace is secure, then it's not an issue, just leave the batteries with the bike. But if thievery is an issue, then it is a lot of faff.
So I found myself at the bottom of a bit of a hill, not a super hill. I know we've done the hill climb, but it's just to illustrate the great thing about e-bikes in general, but also this bike as well, because with a bit of pedaling, you just ease your way up a hill like this. It's just so nice. So if you are on some sort of commute and you've got a job and you can cycle to it, it's just nice to know that you don't have to try that bit extra to get there a bit quicker. You can have a nice little relaxing cruise and you won't get all sweaty. It's a comfortable, as I said, it's a comfortable bike. I've done about 10 miles now and nothing hurts. It's really nice. The handle grips have got like little wing ledges on, which you kind of rest your hands on. It's really comfortable. It kind of flattens it out a bit, doesn't dig into your hands over time. If it was a car, I'd say it's a nice place to be.
Apart from the big puddles and the little hill, I couldn't see anything interesting in Bishop's Wood, so I decided to turn around.
So as I head back home, that was the Engwe X24, a very nice bike. Maybe not quite as powerful as I thought it would be, but a very nice bike indeed. If you are interested in the bike, It is down to £1,500 now, which although is a lot of money, for the price you are getting a good gear system, hydraulic brakes, a decently powered motor, very comfortable bike. So whether that triple suspension works well or not, it feels like it works well. You're getting front and rear lights, which this time of night is very handy, and it looks decent, and it folds if you need it to, and it'll take you really far. 1,500, that when you compare it to similar bikes, for what you're getting, it's fantastic. So if you are interested in it, there is a link below. It is an affiliate link, so if you feel like you've enjoyed the video and I've helped make up your mind, then feel free to use that. Don't forget there are a few things to consider. For example, no mud guards. If you're going through wet stuff, you'll have to add those. The sport mode, that car came out of nowhere then. The sport system is a bit odd. I'd almost forget about it and assume you're getting a bike that goes about 26 to 27 miles an hour. Obviously I'm a bit heavier, so if you're a bit lighter than me, you probably go a bit faster. But it's there if you want it. So we've now done about 15 miles and the battery is 69%. Go up. That ain't bad, that. And it's still going strong. Like, it still feels as strong as it did when it was 100%. And I think those two batteries working at the same time help a lot with that. Obviously, if I was only on the 10 amp hour battery right now, it'd be a lot lower and it would probably be struggling a bit. But that big beefy battery in the saddle, really, really handy. So, that was the Engwe X24. A very, very nice e-bike from Engwe. If you enjoyed that video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. And if you do like e-bikes, feel free to subscribe. If you're only after the one e-bike, probably don't bother. I'll pop up again if you want to see me. And until next time, thanks for watching all the way through. Ride safe. It's very dark. Ride safe.